I'm running solo again. Now, the amazing thing about this is I did this for so long by myself. And then I got Dieter, and he started helping me. And then we got Eric. So I had more people to play with during the show. And then, unfortunately, then we got to where we got a little bit sophisticated, and Dieter was controlling the slideshow for me and all that. Well, tonight, Eric got called out to fly unexpectedly, and Dieter had an unexpected baseball game. So you are stuck with good old Captain Ron, and welcome to Fearless Flight. I'm expecting to hear from somebody later that, hey, you had no audio, no video or whatever, but so be it. We'll be recording it live anyway. Welcome to our weekly show for anybody who's afraid to fly, anybody who knows somebody who's afraid to fly, or if you just like talking about airplanes and aviation, because that's what we do. It was going to be kind of an abbreviated show anyway tonight. We had just a great book launch last week, or a pre-sale last week of the Kindle book, and learned a lot about you last week. And one of the things was that some of you have no idea that what a Kindle is, or a Kindle book. And so we thought we'd talk a little bit about that and other things that we can do to get information here. I've been an audio book fan for years, ever since, oh my gosh, 25, 30 years ago, when cassette tapes were the rage. And you'd buy your cassette tape, you'd get a little player there, and you'd see me jogging down the street with my headphones on and my cassette player in my hand. And that was great for me because I really like audio as a source for my information. And I was never someone who read a lot. I think part of it is a little bit of ADD, so it was hard for me to sustain my attention when I would do that. And I would lose interest especially if the subject matter had a lot of names, complicated names, things like that. And so when audio came along, it was really great because the speed, it just kept moving, and there's a little bit of theatrics in that somebody reads it. Sometimes it's the author, which gives you, especially in nonfiction, gives you a sense of being connected to the author. And then other books, of course, are read by professional readers. A lot of actors do readings for audiobooks. And that evolved from cassettes, and then we got into to CDs and then DVDs, where you had the same kind of arrangement with a player. And then we got to where we are today, where we're streaming, and we have podcasts and YouTube and all things like that. So I thought we'd start out with that here. I have let me see if I can, first I've got to share my screen. Well, let's see, I think what we're going to do here, we're going to go Kindle, and then I'll share my screen here, and we'll see if we can't where's Kindle. Okay. I've got my good friend Judy here acting as my producer. She has experience with, unfortunately, it's with people who are competent in the news industry, but she's sitting over here by my side. So can you see, are we on the air there? Well, I got her stumped. I'm just going to take it that we do. Let's see if I can, I got one other thing I can do here. Let's go from yeah, well, okay. So I believe I'm showing my screen, and oh man, it would be nice if we. Do you know how to go? You don't know how to go put the show on?
On it, but I don't know. I don't know if it's funny or not. I don't know how to find it. Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah, there. That's the right page, I think. You have to go up to where the top of the thing.
Should it be here?
It should be, go over there on the left and look, go click on videos.
Oh, okay. Oh, shit. Nice.
Okay. There you go. So now, and it'll be delayed. Okay. But the main thing is to see, oh, back live. Okay. Hey, so what I wanted to do was talk to you about the Kindle and audible.com. If you can, I hope you can see my screen because let's see.
Video, audio are working great. I'll just write this.
Okay, cool. All right. And so anybody out there, if you would, one more bit of assistance there. Thanks for whoever said that the video and audio are working great. That means you've caught all my gaffes on time. So tonight will be a bloopers broadcast. This will be in our bloopers kit. What I want you to do is take a look at, hopefully you are looking at the Kindle book on my laptop computer. So if you have a smartphone or a desktop computer, you can get the Kindle app, and it's real easy. You just go to the App Store if it's a Mac, or to wherever, to the Google Store, I guess, if it's wherever you get Windows apps, and you download the Kindle Reader. And so you don't have to buy a Kindle player. And I think that's what some of the people were confused about. You just get the Kindle app. And if you look at this here, hopefully this is going out. It's just a great resource. So you can see there, this is a book called Anxiety in the, let's see, what is it? This is Rewiring Your Anxious Brain. And so this is the display it is. And so here it comes up, there's part 1, Anxious Brain Basics. And over here, I can just click on the right side and it just scrolls through the pages as I go. And the really cool thing, watch this. On the side, I've got notebooks. I can do things, we don't want to make flashcards right now, but I can make flashcards. I can highlight sections, and they have a feature called flashcards. So if you were studying something, you could actually put it on there and you could run a little flashcard quiz here. It'd be great in the days when I was learning new airplane systems and things like that, because I could have built the whole doggone show here. As I did, I built my own audio training program. But anyway, so you can go over here and then you can highlight things. You can see like this. I can take that and highlight certain things, and then it'll tell me I can color code it, like make that blue. I can then put notes in there. I can copy it if I want. I can go to the dictionary if I've got words that I don't know the meaning of, but it's just a very versatile app. It's a great way to do that. Now, that's on my home computer. Okay, so obviously you say, hey, Ron, I want to read this on the road. Yeah, so you can do this on your iPhone as well. You can get the app for your iPhone or your Android, and you can do essentially the same thing. If you do have a Kindle reader, you can do some other things. I mentioned to you that I particularly like audio, so I also have a Kindle reader. So and when I get that, if let's just say you have the Kindle book, but you don't have there may not be an Audible book to go with it. And another feature I'll talk to you about Audible, since Amazon owns both Audible and the Kindle book factory there. They have some special things you can do. But if you have an Audible or a Kindle device, a Kindle reader, many of the books are configured so that you can select a read along. So the computer will actually read the words to you. And it's pretty good. There's some funny words that'll come up where it hasn't been trained, like hyphenated words and things like that, and sometimes numbers. But for the most part, it's really good. And now you can have it read to you and have it on screen. Okay, and that's an incredible thing. And then there's one other, and I'll talk about audible.com. Now that's a streaming service with audio books, and I really love that, because you may have seen some of the pictures I have with my pooch in my pouch and us on a bike. And that's where we go every morning. I go on a bike ride, and that's the one part of the day dedicated for me, either listening to an audiobook or a podcast. That's typically what I do with that. I hardly listen to music anymore. And I can listen to that. But even crazier is with Audible, I can bookmark it while I'm riding my bike without worrying about crashing and burning. I can mark it with just touch it with my finger, touch the screen, and I can save a bookmark. And now the cool thing is when I get many of the books that I have are for research and for reference, and so I get both the audio book and the Kindle book, and they have something called Whisper Sync. And so I can go out on my bike in the morning, I can read or listen to the book as I'm reading through it, put bookmarks in, come back to my office. I can now open it up even in this, I could just open up on my Mac computer with just the Kindle app. And now it will ask me, first thing it said, you were last reading this book on your audio device at this point in there. Would you like to go over to that point on your Kindle reader? And if you say yes, now it's going to sync the two. And so now you can just pick up reading on the Kindle app on my desktop. It's just really, really cool. And the ultimate for me is I have a Kindle Fire 10-inch, and I have it on a stand right next to my bed. And you might say that that's the ultimate of eccentricity, but it's really very comfortable for me. So now I could pull that sucker over, put it right in front of me at night when I'm in bed reading, and with the Kindle Reader and Whisper Sync, I can put the book up on the screen and I can have it read to me, kind of like, you know, when you were a little kid and people would read to you. I really like that because it's the way I get the most out of it. I'm very visual, so it really helps me to see the words, listen to them, and I can stop it, and I can do the same thing. I can just touch screen with my fingers and mark areas and put them in the notes, so that when I go back later, I can use that for building slides and putting information into programs and whatnot. So to put all that together, you know, a Kindle reader, a Kindle book, which is what we're going to come out with. The book is going to first launch on the Kindle on September 1st, and you'll, for those of you who bought a copy, you will just get a notice in your email that says, hey, the book is available. Go over to Amazon and download your book, and you'll get it. And then the paperback it'll be available to order on September 1st as well. So if you want to order a paperback version of it, you can do that. And for me, the ultimate is an audiobook, and I'm hoping that we'll get the audio version done about 2 months, 60 days after September. So that'd be October. Hopefully by November, by the holidays, we'll have an audio version of that. And to me, again, audio is one of the most powerful ways that I get information, and I use a lot of mindfulness programs as well. So what I'd love to know is although I can't see your comments right now, I will look to them later. Are you a fan of audiobooks? Or let me first say, I'd love to see your comments. Did you know, or was this helpful information to learn about Kindle and the Kindle app? And then I'd like to have you write in there, what is the way that you prefer to read? Do you prefer the physical book in your hands? I know that's a lot of people still do that. Are you an audible.com subscriber like I am? I get 2 books a month, and it's a tremendous savings over the regular price of the audiobooks. And or are you a Kindle reader? Do you actually read already the Kindle books on your mobile device, or do you actually have a Kindle reader? So we'd love to see your comments on that, and let us know how you feel about that. Let's see. Yeah, Judy, what do you?
So Bonnie wants to know, is it true it will be required to all have ID cards to board a plane, even though we have a driver's license in 2020?
I'm going to say yes, because I know I don't know where Bonnie's calling from or writing from.
Yeah. And then another guy gave her a link to
Yeah.
It's on there.
Yeah, that's a great question. I know myself in Arizona, they will no longer accept that. So I have to go to DMV and I have to get that special ID. I was up on it a couple months ago when I first became, well, I guess about 6 months ago, when I first became appraised of that change myself. You know what? And I will research that this week, and we'll put a word out there on Facebook, and we'll put it in the show for next week. If I can remember to put that in the notes when I get down here. But thanks, that's a great question. But my understanding is, yes, they will. The TSA will no longer accept driver's license as a form of identification. So everybody has to get that new ID. So, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey,
and there's information on that link that the other guy.
Okay. And Judy just told me that there's information on the at the link there that somebody else submitted there. So
Jim Duke gave us a nice link to the government.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Jim. I need to put you on the payroll, Jim. You're such an avid supporter and follower there. So thanks for that. Let's see. Let me go back to. Desktop. Okay, I think I need to find that. Oh, this is where I need. Okay. One of the things I wanted to ask, I wanted to do a poll question tonight. We had a really successful launch, as I said, of the Kindle book last Wednesday. And what I wanted to do was announce, we do know for a fact that Terry Foster, I believe she lives in the San Diego area. She was our grand prize winner. I made contact with her this week, and we're going to get together. She also, ironically, has a flight coming up at the end of August. She's got to fly from, I think, somewhere in the San Diego area up to Chicago for a business conference. So I'm really excited because we can make a difference in her experience for that. So Terry, if you're watching out there tonight, I did send you a message earlier today. Let's get the first meeting set up, and we'll get this going, and I'm sure people will be interested in following your progress. The poll question for tonight is, would you like to have another chance at winning an elite custom coaching day with good old me, Captain Ron? And if you would, we're thinking about doing that. And I think we're going to time it with the September 1st launch. So if that's something that you're interested in, if we have enough interest, we're leaning in that direction right now. So we will have another set of prizes, and with the grand prize being an elite coaching day with me. So let us know how you feel about that, and and you can put your comments in there tonight. So the two questions out there mainly are, tell me your experience with Kindle Reader or Kindle books, audiobooks, audible.com and all that. I'm curious to see if many of you are like me and you're interested in more of that. The membership that we have is one of the prizes that's coming up. One of the things that we're going to do is more of the audio in the same genre as the FearlessFlight Harmonizer, with the multiple track, multiple voices, and the total immersion, audio immersion, so that it can help you distract yourself and get rid of that little voice in your head, or at least dilute it, so where you can be more present and not have that screaming in your ear all the time. What I wanted to do real briefly here is talk about there was an article came out in the New York Times, I believe, about the Mac, the Macs rather, the 737 Macs, and let me find that in my notes here. Oh, was there a minute ago? Okay. Thanks for bearing with me tonight, all you folks out there. The roots. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Here we go. I'll put that up and play for curtain slide. And of course, then I lose my. Okay. All right. So let me just share this this screen here for a second, and we'll put that up. Desktop 1. Oh no. Stop here. Desktop 2. There we go. Like I said, folks, flying is one heck of a lot easier than running my show here. So I just wanted to provide a quick update on this. If you remember all along when this first happened back in October with the first crash over in Indonesia, and then the more recent one in January of this year, I believe in Ethiopia. I said to you, the easiest part about getting this thing fixed is going to be the actual fix, the mechanical fix on the airplane. And that's certainly going to play out. And I said the more complicated thing is gaining the public trust and confidence back, and all of the I don't want to say hassle, but all of the conversation that's going to take place on the regulatory role. And that's what this article is alluding to. They're saying that the engineers at the, when they had the first crash, the engineers at the FAA scoured their files for information about the system, mainly this MCAS, and they couldn't find much. And upon further investigation, they found out after investigating a bunch of current and former employees at the FAA and Boeing that they described the regulatory system in this area as being broken and effectively neutered by the oversight authority of the agency, or neutered the oversight authority of the agency. And what had happened, as we had talked about here on Fearless Flight Live, was over the years, they've got an airplane, the Boeing 737, which has just been the backbone of aviation travel. More 737s have been sold than any other type of airplane. And so what would happen is, if you go back 50 years ago from the first certification, they basically would add a little bit of fuselage to make the thing longer, and a little bit bigger wing from time to time, and then a little bit bigger engines. And so they got in a habit, of recertifying these new versions of the 737, all the way starting with the 737-100, all the way up to the 600, 700, 800, and then the 800 and 900 Maxes. And so, which so often happens with human factors, is we get complacent. And so what had happened is, it was aggravated by the decrease in funding for the FAA. So they were losing people, and a lot of the routine tasks that had been taken by performed by the regulators got passed off to the manufacturers, not just Boeing, but Airbus as well. And when it came to the MAX, they really abdicated their responsibility to keep up with this system called MCAS, and that's what's being really credited with the fact that the airplane got out there and they got ahead of themselves. And in fact, as we touched on before, the company performed its own assessment of the MCAS system, and they were not stress tested by the regulator, meaning that they didn't look at it from a completely objective point of view. And that's where they're at right now. So the airplane fix, on the one hand, is not to be diminished or minimized in its importance, but on the other hand, there are a lot of eyes looking at the regulatory system and how it has been compromised, and that's what you're going to see in the ultimate fix on this. So we'll update you as more news comes out on that. I saw that most of the airlines, I think American, United, and Southwest, have all pretty much deferred any plans to have the MAX back in service before the end of the year. And so they've pretty well adjusted to that. And again, people want to know all the time, will it be safe? I'm gonna tell you what I think, and that is when that airplane goes into service on the day it goes into service, that's probably going to be the safest airplane to ride on. And traditionally, that's what happened when we've had accidents and where there was a mechanical part that contributed to the failure. The fixes and the number of eyes and human beings that become involved in finding a fix is extraordinary, and so it makes it the most observed and most hands-on airplane by the time it gets fixed and gets back into the system. So so just to kind of recap, the latest development on that is confirmation that the regulatory process and compliance was compromised in terms of the people who were actually watching the store. So there was an element of the fox guarding the hen house here, and we'll see that rectified for sure. Okay, if I can get rid of my, okay, there we go. All right, so thanks for putting up with us here. I've managed to entertain you, if nothing else, here for this evening. We'll be back in force next week. We're putting the final touches on the book so that we can get that updated and on track. For those of you who are coming in late, or if you watch the replay of this, what I'd like to do is remind you a couple of questions. One is, how are you in terms of how proficient are you at Kindle, the Kindle book whole process there? Do you use audiobooks, audible.com? Are you a subscriber? I'd love to get a feel for all of you out here. And then the second major poll question that I wanted to get your feedback on is, would you be interested in another sweepstakes associated with the ultimate launch of the book on September 1st, where we have the grand prize and then cascading other prizes out there. So this is Captain Ron signing off for this week, and we'll see you back next week, and we'll have the whole team, the first team, back there, and I'll get the support that I obviously really need. Thanks a lot, and I appreciate all of the support that you all give me out there. Thanks again for supporting the book launch, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. So happy landings, and we'll see you next week.